The ego is never content. The ego will never ever be content with what is. The ego will always find, compare what is with something else and always want something else. So it's the constant battle of I am not, I should be. In that lies identification, and that's what I want to talk about for the next couple of videos. It's about identification, because whatever you identify with is what is keeping you discontent, and is what is keeping you in a constant resistance to what is. It is what is keeping you away from actually being present in your life. So the first thing you can do is start to find out all the things you identify with. It might be your gender, it might be your age, it might be which country you live in, what your nationality is, what your religion is. So whatever you identify yourself with, that is part of the resistance in you. Because whenever we identify with something, we have a resistance to something else. As soon as you let go of the identifying, there's no resistance to anything else. So if you and I have a conversation and I identify with the importance of speaking nice and respectful to one another, if you're not nice and respectful towards me, I will have resistance towards you and judge you for whatever you're trying to say to me. Which means that I'm actually keeping a distance from our conversation with my identifying. Just like you are keeping a distance to our conversation because you identify with the part of you that is speaking with other people disrespectfully. So the identifying is the most important thing to become aware of. Whatever you identify with is tied into ego. And the ego is never content. The ego is never happy. The ego always wants more. The foundation of the ego is I am not, I should be. So whatever you are, whatever you have in your life, the ego can always find faults with it, can always find issues with it, can always find something that should be different with what actually is. And that is keeping you in a distance. That is keeping you away from what actually is. When we identify with a situation, we are locked into our mind. We're locked into a perception and a judgment and an assumption of what is happening. We're not really present. We're not really aware of what is going on. And whatever you identify with is keeping a distance between you and other people. So you're never ever really present. You're never really there. And if you think back of how your day has been today, or how your day was yesterday, you will see that in a lot of different instances during the day, you experienced that there was a distance between you and somebody else, that you actually felt a separate self in you, that you were here and they were there. That is the identification. That is the space between you and other people, where you identify with the separate self, where you create a distance and believing that I am here and you are there. And that identification you can let go of, because it's only part of the ego. Instead of being in the situation where you experience and you perceive and you feel everything that is going on, and all that goes into your mind, and you ruminate and you think about it and you twist and turn it and you have opinions about it. Instead of that, you can just observe. You can pull yourself from the ego into the authentic, where you just observe, where you observe what is happening in you. You observe what you perceive is happening in the other one. You observe the situation, and then whatever you identify with, whatever you want to be different than it is, or you want to be in a certain way than it is, you just let go of. You just observe what is actually happening. And that is creating space in you. Yeah. Thank you.